Good evening and welcome to the Thursday, January 29th edition of NYU Tonight. I'm Jennelle Menendez.
And I'm Jeannie Fernandez. 7 U.S. soldiers stationed in Afghanistan are dead after a weapons cache exploded. The Pentagon and Central Command spokesman said an investigation is underway. This latest incident comes as troops prepare for what U.S. officials call a major spring offensive against al-Qaeda and Taliban forces to head off attacks against coalition troops when warmer weather arrives.
National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice is acknowledging that some pre-war intelligence reports about Iraq's weapons of mass destruction were flawed. Rice says the U.S. may never know the full truth about Iraq's weapons capabilities, but she dismisses the need for an independent investigation and defends the president's decision to go to war. Critics say the administration did little to secure sensitive sites after the invasion, undercutting efforts to find alleged stocks of weapons. The BBC, perhaps the most well-known news organization in the world, is in turmoil today following a stinging rebuke by a British judge. The network's Director General and Chairman are the first casualties of the court's decision that the BBC aired an unfounded report, which accused the government of embellishing reports of Iraq's weapons of mass destruction. Following the resignations, hundreds of BBC employees took to the streets to voice their concern that this incident would cause the media to stop questioning the government.
A Palestinian suicide bomber blew himself up on a crowded Jerusalem bus, killing 10 passengers and injuring 50 bystanders. The blast occurred outside Prime Minister Ariel Sharon's house, but he was not at home. The bomber was a 24-year-old Palestinian policeman. His suicide note claims that he took action to avenge the death of 8 Palestinians killed the day before by Israeli forces on the Gaza Strip. Thursday's bombing was the deadliest since a female suicide bomber killed 21 people on October 4th.
After 2 major disappointments, presidential candidate Howard Dean has decided to shake things up by firing his campaign manager, Joe Trippi, and replacing him with former Gore advisor Roy Neal. Several more primaries are set for next Tuesday, and analysts say Dean needs to post a win or two if he hopes to earn the Democratic nomination. New Yorkers will soon pay more for a taxi ride if taxi and limousine commissions have their way. The commissioners want to raise the base price from $2 to $2.50 and charge an extra 10 cents per 5th mile. If the fare hike is approved, it could take effect as soon as April.
More than 100 firefighters fought to end a fire in Kearny, New Jersey this afternoon. The fire began last night and set ablaze 4 warehouses. Neighboring units were called in for help. No one was killed or injured. The causes of the fire are still unknown. The trial of Martha Stewart is on hold today after defense attorneys raised doubts about the testimony of prosecutor's star witness. Douglas Fayville was expected to take the stand against Martha Stewart and her former broker. The question surrounding a statement by Fayville's former lawyer about who his former clients had ordered the tip that allegedly caused Stewart to dump her almost 4,000 shares of MCLOM stocks.
15 years after the Exxon Valdez oil spill, a federal judge awarded the fishermen and residents of Prince William Sound, Alaska, $4.5 billion in damages. The ExxonMobil Corporation is appealing and hopes to get the award reduced. It was determined the oil tanker's captain was drunk at the wheel when 11 million gallons of crude oil spilled into the Alaskan waters, causing major damage to the local environment.
And for students whose social security numbers were published on an NYU website, the possibility of identity theft may be causing legal issues for the university. With more information about how the school is trying to avoid these problems and other school issues, here's Liz Sabbia with the NYU Focus.
New measures are being taken to prevent the leaking of social security numbers of students. About 1,800 students' personal information was compromised when an NYU student came across an NYU site that listed students' social security numbers, email addresses, and phone numbers after signing up for intramural sports. Students who are afraid of another leak are being encouraged to submit a letter to the Associate Registrar, Maria Ramona Fernandez, stating your current ID number, a phone number, and your signature in order to receive a new student ID number. After 7 years of the Morse academic plan, there may be big changes in store for NYU's general requirements. A panel of outside experts from institutions such as Harvard University and the University of Wisconsin were asked to review the classes in the fall of 2002. Major concerns included large class sizes and a shrinking faculty. 2 committees have been set up to reform the MAP program based on the results from the external reviews. And for seniors, it's a chance to let loose and drink the night away. Senior night is tonight at 9 p.m. at San Marcos Restaurant and Bar on St. Mark's Place between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. Students will get a great discount on drinks, and ladies will enjoy even bigger discounts with $1 beers and $2 shots. It's a great way to connect with other seniors and kickstart the countdown to graduation. That's all for Campus News. I'm Liz Sabbia. Jeannie, back to you.
Tired of that meal plan? Angelica Soto shows us some cheap spots to chow down.
Here in the city, there's no shortage of places to eat, but with so many choices, how do you decide?
Be cheapness.
Something fast.
Quality of food.
So here are some places I've found that fit the bill. With over 20 lunch specials, including vegetarian options, the hardest thing will be deciding what to eat.
I usually order the chicken with broccoli. It's about $5. It's really good. It's just the right amount of food.
Specials run from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., range from $4.50 to $6, and are ready in about 10 minutes. Located on Bleecker and Thompson, Susie's Wall of Fame shows this secret side of the bag for celebrities, and now for you too. Home of the $3 special, you'll be in and out in under 10 minutes at Waverly's Pizza Mercado.
2 cheese slices and the soda, $3.
Don't forget to check out their ad wall with wanted ads ranging from apartments to music lessons. Just around the corner at 8th Street, you'll find Dallas BBQ. This American eatery features everything from hamburgers to honey glazed chicken.
A lot of food, more than you can eat.
Plates with sides start as cheap as $2.99 and are ready in less than 20 minutes. Hungry yet? Bon appetit. For NYU Tonight, I'm Angelica Soto.
According to a warning issued by the World Health Organization today, unsafe handling of poultry in Asia raises the risk of humans contracting the bird flu. Television and newspaper images of bare-handed workers handling bird carcasses have alarmed health officials. Scientists say it's important to wear gloves and protective gear during slaughter to help prevent the spread of the disease. Millions of chickens and ducks have died in 10 countries across the region. The disease has claimed the lives of 10 people in Vietnam and Thailand on recent weeks as well.
President Bush is planning to scale back his pledges to fight AIDS and poverty in third world countries. Congressional officials say Mr. Bush is expected to cut back more than $300 million by 2005. President Bush is expected to seek more money for the arts, however. According to White House officials, the president wants to increase the budget for the National Endowment for the Arts by $18 million. This is the largest increase for the agency in more than 2 decades. For more on the arts, here's Jocelyn with your entertainment news. Jocelyn?
Thanks, Jennelle. So it looks like Jenny's going back to the block alone. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez have officially split, and we may never have to hear that term Benifer again. The couple says they called off their wedding due to excessive media attention, but there's speculation as to who really dumped who. There were even rumors of J-Lo spending time with ex-boyfriend P. Diddy prior to the breakup. And speaking of P. Diddy, he's scheduled to perform at this year's Super Bowl Sunday halftime show, along with Nelly, Kid Rock, and Janet Jackson, so be sure to check that out this weekend. Godfather of Soul, James Brown, was arrested for charges of domestic violence after allegedly throwing his wife to the floor. Tammy Ray Brown suffered scratches and bruises to her right side. This is Brown's 3rd run-in with the law, and I'm guessing he's not feeling all that good today. Michael Jackson, who is currently facing child molestation charges, will be attending this year's Grammys, but he won't be sitting anywhere near R. Kelly. Kelly, the R&B star, under indictment for child pornography, was ordered by a Chicago judge this week to steer clear of Jackson at the event. And the Oscar goes to. This year's nominees were announced on Tuesday, and it's going to be some competition. Up for Best Picture are Lord of the Rings, Lost in Translation, Master and Commander, Mystic River, and Seabiscuit. Johnny Depp and Jude Law are among those up for Best Actor, and among the Best Actress nominees is Keisha Castle-Hughes, a 13-year-old girl from New Zealand. She's the youngest actress nominee for Best Actress in Oscar history. And that's all for tonight's entertainment news. I'm Jocelyn, wishing Oprah a very happy 50th birthday.
And while some people are bundling up for the cold weather, one man thinks less is more. Here's Adriana Prado with the story.
He performs every day in Times Square wearing his cowboy boots and, well, not much else. He's the naked cowboy and perhaps the city's most famous street performer.
I'm naked cowboy, coming to town.
Hundreds of eager tourists, young and old, flock to Burke for a picture, risking life and limb on a tiny island on Broadway and 45th.
You rock, naked cowboy. It's $1 for 2 photos.
You get the whole picture, right?
Are those in the boot? It's good luck to put it in. Good job.
But Burke isn't just making his money in tips.
I have a trademark on the name and the image which people put on products, license it all over the world.
His name has been used in several ad campaigns, including this one for Continental Airlines.
They want to put their underwear on me. I wear their logo on my underwear for $2 grand a week. Anything that's on me is going to be seen because I make it a point to be seen.
We see him on TV, on MTV, outside TRL, and we think he's cool.
He's crazy because really cool as I think it's Burke's been arrested in cities around the U.S. for his personal style, but he remains positive.
I don't care what you think. I stand here every day for hours just to protest just how much I don't have to be like you. I'm living at all times.
And Burke even has his own website full of his favorite quotes, a 66-page bio, MP3s, official merchandise, all handmade, and of course, lots of pictures. For more on the Naked Cowboy, you could check out his website or come see him in the flesh in Times Square.
So I live momentarily, and right now in the moment, I am the king of the earth. This is my throne, and I wouldn't change it for nothing. But again, if I wake up tomorrow and have a different idea, you may never see me again.
For NYU Tonight, I'm Adriana Prado.
The Super Bowl is notorious for its extravagant and expensive commercials. The average cost of a 30-second Super Bowl commercial is $2.25 million. But one ad we won't see is a spot attacking President Bush over the nation's rising deficit. CBS scrubbed the ad from the activist group MoveOn.org.
And the Super Bowl is on everyone's mind as people anticipate the outcome. Can Carolina continue its Cinderella season, or will the powerful Patriots force the clock to strike midnight? Richard Tekneci has that and more in sports.
The stage is set at Reliant Stadium in Houston for Super Bowl 38. The New England Patriots are 7-point favorites over the Carolina Panthers. The Patriots are on a 14-game winning streak heading into the big game. But that doesn't faze Carolina. They have made a 180-degree turnaround and are after going 1-15 2 seasons ago. The game features 2 very strong defenses, so expect a low-scoring contest.
Yeah, well, it's the biggest test of all because it's the biggest game of all. And if we don't stop the run game this week, it's going to be a long game, you know. And we know that's the strength of their team, and it's one of the many strengths of our team. So you know, it's going to be strength versus strength.
We're expecting a physical game, and we're expecting ourselves to be physical, and that will be a factor in the football game.
Defending champion Andre Agassi has been ousted from the Australian Open in the semifinals. The surging Marat Safin defeated Agassi in a tight 5-set match. Agassi rallied back after being down 2 sets, but Safin prevailed. Despite being ranked 86th, the 2000 U.S. Open champion has now defeated the top 2-seeded Americans in the tournament. Safin will meet the winner of tomorrow's semifinal between Roger Federer and Juan Carlos Ferrero for the title. In the women's bracket, it will be an all-Belgian final for the 3rd time in the past 4 Grand Slams. Justin Henin-Harden and Kim Clijsters advanced in straight sets at the Aussie Open Thursday. Clijsters has yet to win any of their Grand Slam finals meetings. The NYU men's basketball team is off to one of their best starts in years. At 13-3, the Violets are coming off a major conference victory over the University of Chicago, winning 75-68. It was the first time NYU beat Chicago since 1996. Up next for the Violets, a trip to Emory University for another showdown tomorrow night.
Computer security experts warned today that the fast-spreading MyDoom virus will plague email users through next week as it prepares to attack Microsoft and software firm SCO Groups Incorporated. The virus has infected computers by prompting users to open an attachment inside the email. Security experts say that these infected computers will knock SCO and Microsoft's websites offline early next week. The public is urged not to open any suspicious attachments in any email messages.
In science news today, NASA scientists bumped forward the date that the Mars rover Opportunity could roll from its landing platform on Saturday. Project manager Pete Theisinger says that the Opportunity has almost completely unfolded and will be ready to travel the 10 feet to the Martian soil a little ahead of schedule. On the other side of the red planet, the software problems that crippled Spirit, Opportunity's twin rover, have been solved. Theisinger thinks that the sidelined rover will be perfect again shortly. Scientists in Boulder, Colorado have recreated a new type of matter called fermionic gas. The gas was created by joint researchers at the National Institute of Standards and Technology and the University of Colorado by freezing potassium particles to ultra-cold temperatures. Researchers say that this new gas could dramatically improve computers and electric power generation, but that practical applications are still decades away.
After nearly 2 weeks in a deep freeze, New Yorkers will experience more pleasant weather. Over the next week, expect sunny skies and high temperatures on the low 30s. Well, that's all for tonight. We'll be back next Thursday with all the latest news. I'm Jeannie Fernandez.
And I'm Jennelle Menendez. Thanks for watching.
Good evening. You're watching NYU Tonight. I'm Erik McKenna.
And I'm Charles Wade. Coming up this half hour, we'll take an in-depth look into politics and give you the very latest on the Florida kidnapping.
And the wardrobe malfunction seen around the world.
CIA Director George Tenet defended U.S. pre-war intelligence about Iraq's suspected weapons programs today in a speech at Georgetown University. The head of the agency outlined the sources used in the CIA's pre-war estimates, but Tenet stressed the importance of the word estimates and denied political pressure influenced the agency's assessment.
The risks are always high. Success and perfect outcomes are never guaranteed. But there's one unassailable fact. We will always call it as we see it. Our professional ethic demands no less.
The CIA director's speech comes one day before President Bush is expected to name the members of a commission to review U.S. intelligence on Iraq's suspected weapons of mass destruction. At least 17 people were killed in the latest series of attacks in Kashmir. 4 members of the Indian Army were killed and 8 injured in a blast in Saler, located in the Indian-controlled area. 1 Army officer and 12 other militants were also killed in separate incidents in the region.
The United Nations is backing a poultry vaccination that would help in the fight against the bird flu. So far, the disease has killed 16 people and is ravaging farms in Asia. The UN says the vaccine protects human health without the economic problems of mass slaughter. A UN representative knows how Asian governments should respond.
Economic losses could be quite significant from this disease. However, the economic losses from not tackling it appropriately will be absolutely enormous. And we believe that the government of China has recognized this, that they know that an early, rapid response is required.
UN Chief of Animal Health Services Joseph Dominic says the mass killings of chickens will negatively affect the economy and should only be done for small outbreaks. To date, 50 million chickens have been killed in an attempt to contain the virus. Experts say that the virus will probably take at least a year to destroy. 10 countries are currently battling the disease, and a human vaccination is still 6 months away. Earlier reports of an assassination attempt on Iraq's most powerful Shiite religious figure are false, according to sources close to the cleric. The Arabic TV station Al Jazeera had reported an attack by an unidentified gunman, but the clergyman's bodyguards say he is in very good health and hasn't been subjected to any assassination attempts.
Florida police said yesterday they have a suspect in custody for the abduction of 11-year-old Carly Bruscia, who has been missing since Sunday. The abduction was caught by a surveillance camera at a local car wash. 37-year-old Joseph P. Smith was arrested on unrelated drug charges and was taken into custody after community members saw the video and called police. Smith is being held in the Sarasota County Jail, and authorities say he is not cooperating. Police impounded Smith's 1992 Buick Century station wagon, which they believe may have been used in the abduction. Police officials and the FBI continue to ask for help from the community to help locate Carly.
The murder trial of Robert Blake suffered a setback today when the judge removed the actor's lawyer. The Superior Court judge's decision came at attorney Thomas Merceau's request. Merceau is the 3rd lawyer to leave Blake's defense. In other legal news, the star witness in the Martha Stewart trial has given the prosecution reason to celebrate. Stewart's former assistant Douglas Fanuel stated in court today he participated in a cover-up because he feared for his job. Attorneys for the lifestyle guru will try to discredit Fanuel's testimony. Stewart and ex-Merrill Lynch broker Peter Bakanovich are in hot water after Fanuel testified they were involved in insider trading. Stewart denies charges that she dumped her Imclone stock after getting an inside tip. And now for a look at the more legitimate side of the business world, here are today's stock closings.
NYU's skyrocketing tuition and New York's expensive cost of living are leaving students in the red. Here to help you manage your credit card debt is NYU Tonight's Angelica Soto.
School's back, and so are the expenses. From books to food, students can easily find themselves out of cash. So what can you do when you're out of dough but still need the essentials?
Credit card.
Credit card?
Credit card.
They're easy to use. They also provide built-in security and protection features. As a student, upon graduation, good credit history is almost essential. The notion of, during your college years, being able to establish good spending habits and the ability to use credit wisely is going to be very important.
With 78% of undergraduates now averaging 3 cards and roughly $2,000 in debt, promoting healthy spending habits is key for many credit providers.
At Citibank, through our credit education program, we are really dedicated to providing students with tools and a rich set of information to allow them to learn about how credit works. Credit is not free money. Credit is a loan that must be repaid, and students need to understand that the habits that they begin to establish around spending as well as payment is going to be important to them as they establish their credit history.
But are students using credit wisely? Credit card usage is up 24% among undergraduates, according to Nellie Mae credit lender. NYU student Nicole Quaranta learned the dangers of student credit the hard way.
It was like cash to me, and I would just spend it on everything. I went to the dollar store and bought a jar of pickles for 99 cents and put it on the credit card. I just got addicted.
With 8 cards and over $3,000 in debt, she decided it was time for a solution, another job.
I worked one job from 10:30 in the morning until 3:30, and the other job from 4 o'clock until 9:30 at night. And then I'd go to school 2 days a week.
Lucky for others in debt, help is readily available. With over 40 credit and debt consolidating companies based in the New York area alone, and a bunch of new online debt counselors, finding help has never been easier. For more tips on using your credit, visit www.students.usecreditwisely.com. For NYU Tonight, I'm Angelica Soto.
And now it's time to find out where your hard-earned tuition money really goes. From the Kimmel Center to the Silver Center, straight from 10 Washington Place, here's Myra Zuleta with your NYU Focus.
Thanks, Charles. It looks like the adjunct contract war is far from over. NYU adjuncts will continue to duke it out with the university, but this time they're getting some outside help. In an unusual move, NYU has decided to pay for a mediator who will step in beginning tomorrow. Some of the major issues still on the table include disagreements over wages, healthcare, and job security. Supporters and protesters alike flooded into the Kimmel Center last night to listen to speakers voice pro-Palestinian views. The lecture kicked off a divestment campaign sponsored by NYU's Student for Justice in Palestine. The group is urging the university to get rid of stocks belonging to companies that support Israel. In the past, NYU has refused to disclose its investment portfolio. Ready or not, here it comes. For all you seniors out there, the countdown to commencement begins. Next week, the Office of Student Life will be hosting a graduation information fair for the class of 2004. Representatives from alumni services, career services, and other graduation-related programs will be on hand to answer any questions. The event will be held February 10th at the Kimmel Center from 4 to 6:30. And that does it for your slice of NYU life.
Thanks, Myra. And just when you thought it was over, another round of wintry weather is headed our way. Cold weather and snow will be sweeping in early Friday morning, then mixing with sleet and freezing rain before changing to all rain by late morning or early afternoon. Snowfall accumulations are expected to range from 1 to 3 inches before the changeover to rain. A winter storm watch has been issued for several inches of snow to be followed by a prolonged period of ice and freezing rain. But don't worry, there's a little improvement ahead. Take a look at the 5-day forecast. And we looked at the 5-day forecast. People on both sides of the gay marriage issue are clashing in Massachusetts. Last November, the Supreme Judicial Court's ruling made it the first state to legalize same-sex marriage. Although the Massachusetts ruling is final, lobbyists are now focusing on next week's constitutional convention. Here, lawmakers will consider a new amendment that overturns the ruling and bans gay marriage nationwide.
The battle for the Democratic presidential nomination is rolling forward as the candidates look to rally support in the next round of primary states. Voters in Michigan, Maine, and Washington will have their say this weekend, while the race shifts south next week with primaries in Virginia and Tennessee. John Kerry looks to be in a strong position after scoring victories in 7 of the first 9 contests and picking up another endorsement today, this time from former Democratic Senate Majority Leader George Mitchell. John Edwards, meanwhile, is hoping his decisive win in South Carolina and strong showing in Oklahoma will lead to victories in the upcoming Southern primaries. Oklahoma winner Wesley Clark is pursuing a similar strategy. Both are in Tennessee today. And remember Howard Dean? The one-time frontrunner is still winless, and he's now setting his sights ahead almost 2 weeks to score his first victory. In an email to supporters, Dean said they must score a win in Wisconsin in order to keep his presidential hopes alive. Wisconsin voters don't hit the polls until February 17th, but Dean made a last-minute cancellation in Michigan to fly to Wisconsin tonight. Finally, don't expect to hear much more from Joe Lieberman. Following very disappointing results in all 9 contests, the 2000 vice presidential nominee has pulled the plug on his campaign.
And here with her take on the current political climate is Linda Katzman. Linda?
Thank you. With candidates dropping like flies, it's important now more than ever that the Democratic Party choose one man and stand behind him. This unified front is essential if they want to defeat President Bush in November. It is of key importance that all future debates be limited to candidates with a serious shot at the nomination. The time for inviting hopeless hopefuls to the debates is over. With the president's camp throwing insults at Kerry, there is no reason for the other candidates to follow suit. Instead of calling Kerry and Clark Republicans, Dean should set his sights on the most harmful Republican of them all, George W. Bush. Quit debating about who is making donations from special interests and start focusing on the interest in defeating President Bush. According to a CNN US Today Gallup poll released on Tuesday, John Kerry is seen as the candidate best able to take on Bush in November. Well, Mr. Kerry, here's my advice to you. Since Congress has no apparent interest in challenging the administration on military spending, it's all up to you. Your record of military support and investigations into government activity in Nicaragua and POWs in Vietnam should be highlighted, while at the same time emphasizing the current president's lack of military knowledge, like how he couldn't even serve in the National Guard without going AWOL. You should focus on the hot topic of national security and remind the people of our great nation that while they continue to search for jobs in a bad market, the current administration spends over $1 billion a week in Afghanistan and Iraq, while spending the surplus and bankrupting the U.S. Treasury back home. I urge all the Democratic candidates to throw their support to whoever the party chooses so that we don't have a repeat of 2000. And I urge all of you out there to rock the vote in November. For NYU Tonight, I'm Linda Katzman, and that's my 2 cents.
Thanks, Linda. Firefighters are still putting out hot spots of a fire that destroyed a strip mall in New Jersey. The flames were so intense that the smoke from this fire drifted across the Hudson last night into Manhattan. The businesses were so old they did not have sprinklers or smoke detectors. Investigators believe it began in the basement of a 99-cent store and quickly engulfed 4 other businesses. Authorities say the source of Tuesday's oil spill that reportedly harmed wildlife in central New Jersey remains unknown. The Coast Guard is taking oil samples from ships in New York and New Jersey harbors to determine if any were the source of the spill. Officials say the cleanup effort will increase in the coming days.
American car manufacturer Daimler Chrysler donated 7 automobiles to the university. Brian Foster has more on these funky new cars.
Hidden away behind the Kimmel Center, sitting alone in a dark loading dock, are New York University's coolest new vehicles. This is the GEM car, one of the automotive industry's most innovative limited-use vehicles. These small, 2-passenger electric cars were recently donated by Daimler Chrysler to the university. 3 of the 11 donated are parked here at Kimmel. The cars retail for over $7,000 and can sell for much more. Other urban universities, like the University of Chicago, also receive GEM cars. Daimler Chrysler says the donations are part of a test program, but they're not the only ones benefiting from the deal.
There would be a certain consistency in terms of academic interests and their own interests in exploring the use of vehicles that were protective of the environment.
The GEM cars have all the features of any other car: headlights, seat belts, and they're licensed for road use. But they're missing one important thing: doors. Administrators say the doors were not donated, so they'll have to be bought. For now, the university is trying to figure out what to do with the GEM cars once they hit the road. The university's mechanical shops and housing and residence life offices are expecting a few GEM cars.
They have a fair amount of material that they have to transport around between each of the different locations, and so it was a good fit there. We haven't decided precisely how the 11 vehicles are going to be divided.
In the meantime, these 3 are going to have to sit in the loading dock, waiting for a new home within the university. But others are almost ready to roll. Protection Services already has their 3 vehicles, and after getting new paint jobs in Queens, their GEM cars will be used to patrol the campus, replacing some of the old 3-wheeled scooters. Watch for the rest, coming soon to a street corner near you. For NYU Tonight, I'm Brian Foster.
The Super Bowl may be over, but that doesn't mean the football season is. Players that were knocked out of the playoffs have a final shot at redemption. With Pro Bowl news and more, here's your sports update.
sports fans. This is Liz Sabbia with your NYU Sports. No game brings out football's best like the Pro Bowl. This Sunday's game pits the best of the AFC and NFC against one another in Honolulu. Starting quarterback Steve McNair of the Titans and Dante Culpepper of the Vikings will try to bring their teams to victory, unlike their disappointing season. New York Giants' Michael Strahan is slated to play defensive end for the NFC, and New York Jet Kevin Maui will start at center for the AFC. The game airs this Sunday at 7:30 on ESPN. In other football news, New England Patriots coach John Hufnagel was named the offensive coordinator of the New York Giants. Fired coach Jim Fossil called the offensive plays last season. Suspended Ohio State tailback Maurice Clarett was ruled eligible for the draft by a federal judge who concluded that an NFL ruling barring eligibility violates antitrust laws. A U.S. district judge in Manhattan ordered the National Football League to let Clarett participate in this year's draft. Along with this, Larry Fitzgerald of Pittsburgh has also been granted permission to enter the NFL draft. Clarett sued the NFL last summer to challenge a league rule that a player must be out of high school 3 years for draft eligibility. The judge's ruling, if it is not successfully appealed, could allow teenage football stars to take advantage of the marketing and business opportunities available to young athletes in other sports. Mike Richter's spot in the Madison Square Garden rafters was filled Wednesday night when his number 35 jersey was retired by the only NHL team he ever played for. Because of a series of concussions, Richter was forced into an early retirement last summer after 15 seasons with the Rangers, the team he helped win the Stanley Cup title in 1994 after a 54-year drought. The NYU men's basketball team won its third straight game as they beat Case Western Reserve University 80-63. NYU is off to one of its best starts at 15-3. On the women's side, NYU held on for an 88-79 win over Case Western Reserve University to raise its record to 16-2. The Violets are currently ranked number 17 in the latest ESPN USA Today WBCA poll. A woman accused several players from the St. John University's basketball team of rape today after meeting them in an adult nightclub near Pittsburgh. The woman told police she met the players about 2:30 a.m. Thursday and was raped at a hotel. St. John's officials said leading scorer Elijah Ingram, a sophomore, and seniors Abraham Kita and Grady Reynolds were taken off the team. And on a final note, it's been a disappointing year for New York sports teams. Neither the New York Giants or Jets made it to the playoffs. The Knicks are praying for a miracle, and the Rangers and the Islanders' dreams of bringing the Stanley Cup home to New York are slim to none. The Nets are always a shoo-in for making the playoffs, but will they make the finals? And don't even get me started on the Mets. I'm waiting for March 31st because there's always one New York team you can count on. Hey, they may have not won the World Series, but at least they made it. Play ball. This is Liz Sabbia for NYU Sports.
Thanks, Liz. 4 construction workers plunged 30 feet today after a scaffolding collapsed at the Justice Department in Washington, D.C. The workers were all hospitalized, but none of their injuries appear life-threatening. The cause of the collapse is still under investigation.
A mysterious death has left police baffled, and the recent cold snap may have played a role. 79-year-old Lily Gardner was found frozen to death on the roof of her nursing home in Queens. Gardner suffered from Alzheimer's, and police are investigating how or why she ended up on the roof in the first place. The victim's family says someone must have forced her to the roof, but the nursing home denies this claim. The investigation is still ongoing. A key witness in the Laci Peterson case died of natural causes yesterday. 78-year-old Vivian Mitchell was scheduled to testify later this month for the defense. Mitchell claimed she saw Laci walking her dog the morning of December 24th, hours after prosecutors say she was murdered by her husband, Scott Peterson.
Want to see a Broadway show or the latest flick, but you're low on cash? Well, here's Myra Zuleta to tell you how to enjoy New York City without breaking the bank.
For some students, a night out on the town can break the bank. The TKTS ticket booth is just one outlet making Broadway and off-Broadway shows affordable for those on a tight budget.
It's a 50% discount day of. Some producers, if the show is selling really well, will only offer a 25% discount, but if you become a member of the mailing list, it can be up to 75%. students can join the mailing list, I think, for a year for $5.
To avoid long lines at Times Square, head to the TKTS booth located near NYU's Water Street dorm.
If you're going to go to the TKTS booth, then the South Street Seaport is your best bet. For matinees on Saturdays and Sundays, you can purchase them on Fridays.
But you can find some of the best deals for entertainment right here on campus at NYU's Ticket Central.
Sometimes I come and get, discounted movie tickets. Around holiday time, I kind of tend to use it more because, gifts to, like, plays or something.
Nobody should ever be paying full price for a movie in New York City because there's just no reason to do it. Because you come here to Ticket Central first, you buy a movie pass from $5.50 to $7.50, and so you don't have to pay any money out of your pocket unless there's a surcharge, which happens sometimes.
Your best bet is the weekday escape pass for any Lowe's theater. If you see a movie between Monday and Thursday, it costs $5.50 and even includes a coupon for a free small popcorn.
There are some restrictions in terms of when you can see the movie, in terms of the day of the week. Some movie passes require the movie be out for like a week or 10 days.
For theater lovers, Ticket Central sometimes offers more than 50% off for orchestra or balcony seats.
We did Hairspray for under $30 when it first came out. Take Me Out, which is the Tony Award winner, we continually do $26 for orchestra seats.
Next spring, Ticket Central plans to move to the Kimmel Center. For now, check out deals online or through the listserv so you can enjoy the city's attractions even on a student budget. For NYU Tonight, this is Myra Zuleta.
Can't get enough of the Boobgate scandal? Adriana Prado has the scoop on that and more with tonight's entertainment news.
Thanks, Eric. I guess CBS has seen enough of Janet, or Miss Jackson because she's nasty. After her indecent exposure at the Super Bowl halftime show, the network told Jackson her services will no longer be needed at the Grammys. She was supposed to present a tribute to Luther Vandross, but Vandross sick and with Jackson stuck in a media frenzy, CBS figured that in this case, less of Jackson is more. And apparently none of J.C. Chasez is better. The singer was scheduled to perform his song, Blowing Me Up With Her Love, at this weekend's Pro Bowl halftime show. But the NFL nixed the performance, saying they were afraid the choreography would be too racy. I bet it doesn't help that he's Justin Timberlake's ex-bandmate. And it looks like NBC has seen enough skin for 1 week. The network has decided not to show a glimpse of an elderly woman's breast in tonight's episode of ER. I doubt America will be too disappointed. Britney Spears, is looking into becoming the next Bond babe, but doesn't seem to be having much luck. She met with the 007 folks in London at her request and left without a movie deal. I guess the Brits weren't all that impressed with her performance in Crossroads. And this coming Monday, prepare for a blast from the past in honor of the Beatles' first appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show. CBS will be airing part of that very special performance on David Letterman, so be sure to check that out. I'm Adriana Prado. Thanks, and back to you.
Thanks, Adriana. Winter Restaurant Week ends tomorrow in Manhattan, but if you haven't made reservations, there's still time. New York's top restaurants are offering 3-course lunches for just over $20 and dinners for $30. This yearly event offers New Yorkers a chance to dine in the city's best spots and perhaps rub elbows with a few celebrities. For more information and to make reservations, you can go online to www.opentable.com. Tomorrow marks the kickoff of another Manhattan tradition, Fashion Week. Hundreds of New Yorkers will be lining the runways to see what the world's best designers have in store for the fall season. Vera Wang, Kenneth Cole, Donna Karan, and Oscar de la Renta are among the many designers who will be presenting their new collections. Fashion Week runs through February 13th.
Don't be surprised if you see a lot of red tomorrow, but it won't be in honor of Valentine's Day. February 6th is National Wear Red Day in support of women and the battle against heart disease. And that's our edition of NYU Tonight. I'm Charles Wade.
And I'm Erik McKenna. Thanks for watching.
Good night.